Welcome to a new video! Today I'm going to share with you my Tri-Brigade deck profile. Yes, it's Tri-Brigade pure version. You know what I mean by pure. It's not really 100% pure because you do have small other engines. But I thought we'll keep the Tri-Brigade train going because I do really like this engine and I never really played this variant before. So I thought, yeah sure, if you guys don't mind, I'm just going to do immediately a Tri-Brigade variant that is pure. But relatively. But before we jump right into the deck list itself, I'm going to remind you that if you want to see more videos like this, please consider hitting the subscribe button. It helps a ton. Let me know in the comments down below what do you think about the list, what you will change yourself, and of course, give a like to the video if you enjoyed. But now let's jump right into the list itself, obviously. Alright, jumping into the deck list itself, I'm going to start things off with the triple copies of Fractal, followed up by the triple copies of Kit, triple copies of Nerval, and of course the double copy of Keras for our Tri-Brigade lineup. Now, for anybody who don't know what these cards do for some reason, or how the archetype's supposed to work as a gimmick, I'm going to go over it really quickly. Tri-Brigades are basically supposed to work with Beast, Beast Warriors, and Winged Beast, which I like to call Tri-Beast, and essentially using them in graveyard while they're, like, if you have them on the field, they can banish from the graveyard a number of Tri-Beast cards, up to the link rating of a monster that you're trying to summon from the extra deck that is a Tri-Beast. So, for example, if you banish 2, you can summon out of your extra deck something like Ferajit. Now, this doesn't count as link summoning, and it doesn't count as a proper summoning as well, so if this card is going to be sent to the graveyard, you're not going to be able to properly summon it again, and if it's have an effect on link summoning specifically, you're not be able to get to do that. For example, with the Power of the Element Scareclaw Link 1, you'll not be able to use that if you're trying to cheek that out for some weird reason, because it's basically a Link 1 Tri-Beast card. Regardless, that's their entire idea. They use their graveyard as resource, which is really great, but also on top of that, for the rest of the turn, they are locking you to only use Tri-Beast card for your Link summoning place. They're not locking you into Link summoning only, but to Tri-Beast card just for your Link summoning place. Now for their own individual effects, Fractal is a Foolish Burial from hand or field for any level 3 or lower Tri-Beast card from your deck. And then we have Kit, which is when she's sent to the graveyard, she's a Foolish Burial for any Tri-Brigade card except herself. Nerval, when it's sent to the graveyard, is a searcher for all of the other Tri-Brigade monsters except itself, of course. And Nerval, or should I say Nerval Keras, is a discard for any Tri-Beast card in your hand to then for release special summon it. So that's pretty much the standard lineup. I've seen some people actually running 3 Keras, some people running 2 Kit, and some weird variation like that, but for the most part, if you're playing the standard lineup, this is the best standard lineup to play. Moving on to the best card in the entire deck where it comes to normal summon, I'm basically playing 3 copies, of course, of Rescue Cat. Anybody who don't play 3 copies of Rescue Cat in the purest of variations of this deck is essentially just, I don't really know what you're doing. This card is basically send it to the graveyard, which making it into another resource. It doesn't banish itself, it sends itself to the graveyard. You're getting another resource, and you get to summon from your deck to your side of the field a Kit and a Keras, or even 2 Kits if you decide to do that, which is really cool. So this card just giving you very nice amount of resources. Now granted, this is a card that your opponent going to Ash sometimes if they have it in their hand, or of course all the time, but you do play Gammas and Cold by the Grave, so it's not really the end of the world. You do have ways to just combat that. Also, unfortunately, I open up the damage one in one of my maximum golds, but that's the one that I open and I'm going to stick with that. Moving on for the rest of the Tri-Brigade lineup of engines that we run here. This is an engine that some people like to run, some people don't like to run, and they just like to focus more on the Link variant of the deck. Some people just like to run this as an engine just to help you break boards, and that is the Zoodiac engine. Now, for some reason, annoying reason, I cannot find my Ratpier. I don't know why, I don't know where she is, but I cannot find her anywhere specifically. So that's why I'm not running Ratpier, instead I'm running Cataroost. This can also be Therablade or even a Bunny Blast. It doesn't really matter for the most part. The entire idea of these cards is just seeing them in your hand in order to just do the following thing, which is called Slap, 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 attack directly, Zeus. That's kind of like their entire idea overall as an entire engine. But there is a variation why Ratpier is better a little bit than Calrus, but it's not the end of the world with the Zoodiacs if you don't run like this specific ones. The only one that I would say that you kind of have to run is Whiptail, and for anybody who's worried that this is an ultimate rare, like, don't worry, there is a super variant, don't worry about that. Regardless, Whiptail is, it's kind of like a must because it's just allowing you to also banish things, which is really good. Ram is just a good defensive one, and the reason why people like to run a Ratpier because it's able to send the Ram, which is then kind of like able to do some kind of a little bit of a cute combo with them. But for the most part, it doesn't really matter that much, like I mentioned. It just, you want to run 3 Zoodiacs in order to see them and essentially just like commit your plays. And then for the last one, which I still have to proxy because it's only been 2 days and mail didn't arrive yet, is the 1 copy of Cerberol for our combo with Karis. You discard it, or you discard it with Bear Broom, and essentially you get yourself a Herald of the Arclight, which is amazing, so why not take that advantage? That does it for the monster lineup. Now we'll move on into the hand traps. For the hand traps, 3 copies of Gamma, as I mentioned before, the 1 driver, because in this deck, unlike the lyrilusc variations, you're most of the time going to have an empty board. And even if you don't have an empty board, like maybe you could say that the lyrilusc version is kind of like the same, but unlike the lyrilusc version, this deck does have a lot more space to do things like that. So that's why we're running 3 Gamma and a white driver, 3 copies of Ash Blossom, and of course the 2 copies of Effect Veiler and the 1 copy of DD Crow. Basically standard, I think, lineup of hand traps for the most part. Of course you can change things depending on what you want. Gamma is also better in this deck specifically because this deck, if you lose your cat, which is your normal summon, you basically are not kind of able to play the game. In the case of lyrilusc, they have a little bit more of a better lineup of playstyle because they have more special summoning and things like that, so that's why Gamma is a little bit of a better card here. But yeah, that does it for the hand traps. Honestly, just very standard and very, very small package. Also, once again, going to mention, DD Crow is a searchable card due to the effect of it being a winged beast, so you sometimes search this an interruption during the opponent's turn with your Ominous Omen. So for the spells right now, I think we're going to jump into that. Of course, we're running 2 copies of our Tenki. Tenki is the new card that just come back to 2. Like, I'm so happy to play 2 of this. I'm really hoping we're going to get the 3rd one in the next ban list, although I'm not 100% sure it's going to happen so soon. But Tenki is really good. It's just basically additional 2 copies of Fractal, or essentially a Zoodiac if you're going second, or even just a bait card if you're going second, or bait card in general if your opponent have, like, you think they have a hand trap or an interruption and you just have whatever you need specifically. You just bait them with this. They're trying to negate this and think that this is critical, and you can just even double bait them with other cards as well, which just making this a very, very good card. And also just the 100 attack boost does come up sometimes, which is kind of cool. Then for our other 2-off card, I run 2 copies of Forbidden Chalice. I don't really have triple tactic talents or Cross the Designator. I am considering getting those, but I do like Forbidden Chalice for one reason. It can help you sometimes seal games with a 400 additional attack. Sounds weird, but it sometimes come up. And the second thing that it does is that this card allowing me to deal with Scythe, which I don't like to deal with Scythe. So this allowing you to just, like, maybe just negate the Scythe and allowing you to then just continue playing on, so that's why I like to play this card. And then for your opponent one-offs, Cosmic Cyclone, Called by the Grave, and Foolish Burial. Foolish Burial to start your plays with the kit. Called by the Grave is Called by the Grave, and Cosmic Cyclone is for a back row removal, just to at least very much have one to, again, deal with the Scythe. But that does it for the spells. For the traps, obviously 2 copies of Revolt. In this particular variation, unlike the variation of lyrilusc, we have less of, like, options where it comes to our extra deck with, like, birds and stuff like that as well. It's a little bit more of a weird one. So in this particular deck, you kind of just going into 1 Revolt like any game, and the second one is just in a very, very weird hand that you're not able to go into Sharug to use into your combos. You basically use the second one to then revive and again do the thing. Like, Searching Revolt is very important, but sometimes you're not able to use Shirug in your combo, so the second one is kept live or like in your deck, and then you just use it later. One thing I also would mention is that if you did use Shirug for your combo, the second copy of Revolt will summon to you a Shirug in another card, and then you just go into a Ferrigit. So do keep that in mind when you're playing this. This card is just more of like a grind card for the second one, but the grind game does come up in some particular matchups as well. Also, I did forget to mention, I don't run Desires because I do have so many names that I just don't really want to banish. And then for the last card, well, I don't think I need to explain this one. 3 copies of Impermanence. This is a hand trap. This is basically one of the better hand traps in this format, and it's pretty much my favorite one, so I'm running this card at 3 all the time, if I can, 100%. But that does it for the main deck. Now we'll move on into the extra deck, and for the extra deck, we're going to start with the Tri-Brigade lineup first. Double copies of Ferrigit, 1 copy of Bear Broom, and of course, the double copy of Shirug himself. Best boy in the entire deck. This card is absolutely amazing. I love this card. This card is just so awesome. If I had the ability to play a third one, I will definitely play this, but the extra deck is a little bit too tight to allowing me to play the third, but if I had the ability, I would play the third. This card is just ridiculous. Banish without targeting on summon, or if you summon a Tri-Beast card, which is really, really, really good. And of course, when it's sent to the graveyard, you are able to search an additional Tri-Beast card that is up to the level of the, you know, cards that you have banished, which is just amazing. You can search your entire deck for the most part. Most of the time you search with this during the opponent's turn, DD Crow, which is another interruption, so that's actually pretty cool, or a follow-up for next turn. Bear Broom is here because she's actually, you do use her effect for some of your combos, but most of the time what you use her for is to search your Revolt. And one thing that is funny, it's really depending on, of course, the matchup. Sometimes I'm just summoning the Bear Broom to search another Revolt with the Revolt, because she can do that, and that is absolutely hilarious where it comes to the grind game. I'm just like going, oh hey, if I'm kind of like had a bad hand, I'm basically just going to, if I'm able to like summon this properly, of course, you just basically summon this again, search another Revolt for a follow-up next turn, which is amazing. And then of course Ferrigit, just the generically good Link 2 that you can summon with a Greater of Ease, and also a free special summon from hand, and of course a hand fixer when you use her, which is pretty good. And that does it for these guys. For the rest of the Link monsters, Almirage for weird variations that you need to send your cat and bird, which is Nerval and Kit, to the graveyard, and you don't really have anything else to do that with. Double Dragon Lords, because it's a card that you can summon out of your extra deck with your Tri-Brigade effects. Doom Eagle, same idea, although sometimes I do miss the Rugal, but I do think in this deck Doom Eagle is a little bit better, because in this deck specifically, you're playing a little bit differently, and you less link climb and lock yourself, so it's kind of like a little bit different where it comes to the lyrilusc stuff. Appaloosa, Bow of the Goddess, because it's your main going first card, and of course Proxy Access Code until we'll get it, which is basically your going second card. And I think I didn't say it in the previous list, but I will say it in this one. This is probably one of the only decks that I would say it's kind of a must to play an access code, because it's so easy to get to. You have 4 attributes in the graveyard most of the time to just banish and pop 4 cards, which is basically the maximum number of attributes anyway, but you have most of the time 2 to 3 of them, potentially 4, and you're just able to OTK your opponent really easily, so I don't really see no reason to run this card if you have it. Of course, Boral Sword is not a bad option if you don't have anything else. If you have another like option that you can think of that is better than this, let me know in the comments, but like, it's just, access code is just access code, you just have to run it. And then for the rest of the extra deck, which is not Links, we have the 1 copy of Herald of the Arclight, because it's Herald of the Arclight, it is part of your combos. 1 copy of Chakanine, 1 copy of Tiger Mortar, 1 copy of Board Bow, and 1 copy of the Sky's Thunder. Yes, this card is absolutely ridiculous. You're able to sometimes just normal summon a zoo if it's not contested. Chakanine, Tiger Mortar, Board Bow, attack directly. slap this on top of that main phase 2, and then just have 2 board wipes, which is ridiculous. This is allowing you to break boards and basically take 2 interruptions in one if you're just playing it correctly and you have nothing else. But if you have something else, this can basically take your opponent's entire board, which is just insane. Like, this is the swing card that allowing you to do things. So this card is really, really good. And very, very important. And Herald of the Arclight, I also like to end with it because of the fact that it's just turn off droplets. And also just an Omni Negate to deal with annoying things like lightning storms and stuff like that as well. But that does it for the main deck of 40 cards, 15 extra deck monsters. I think that's pretty standard as most of the time. But yeah, that's pretty much does it. So that does it for this. Now let's move on to the combo section, because I do have some few combos that I would like to share with you. Welcome to the combo section. In the combo section, I'm going to share with you a few combos that I think are very important for you to know playing this deck. And for the first combo, we're going to go with the combo of the 1 Fractal combo. Now this particular combo can also be done by opening up specifically Kit and Norval and nothing else. And the entire idea is that you're going to link one of these into the All Mirage and then find a way with them to kind of like go into the Keras, discard the other one, and essentially still accumulate enough resources to just do this particular combo, but unfortunately not enough to go into a Sharug and then get the entire full play, just like the next one I will show you. But for this particular one, we're just going to go with this one because it's simpler, so we're going to start things off, obviously, with our hand here. And let's play. So, first things first, we're going to discard the Fractal, which will send to our graveyard the copy of Kit, which will send to our graveyard the copy of Nerval. Of course, send it to the graveyard, not discard it, that's how that works. And then Nerval will allow us to search to our hand the copy of Keras. Now, because we don't necessarily have card that we can discard in our hand, like I mentioned before, we're going to use Keras just as a normal summon, and use the effect to banish 2. By banishing 2, we'll be able to special summon out of our extra deck the copy of Bear Broom. Now we're going to use Bear Broom effect, discard 2 random cards from our hand, and then basically revive one of our Tri-Beast cards. Again, let's say we don't have anything else in our graveyard, which is just going to be the Fractal, so we don't really have anything that we can actually summon. And even if we can summon the Lichart when we come to Power of the Element, or whatever that's called, the Link 1 for Scareclaw, when we'll get to that, it doesn't really give us that much where it comes to anything, so it's just a waste of resource. Regardless, we don't really have anything else to do in this particular point, so we're just going to link all 3 of these immediately into Appaloosa, Bow of the Goddess, with, of course, 3 interruptions, which, where is my stupid die? There it is, 3 interruption Appaloosa. Now we're going to use the effect of Bear Broom in our graveyard, since it was used for, was sent to the graveyard. We're going to basically search to our hand a copy of Revolt, and then put a card from our hand into the bottom of the deck. Now we're going to set the Revolt, and pass the turn to our opponent. Now during the opponent's turn, obviously, we're going to activate the Revolt when we feel necessary. We summon all of our 4 Tri-Brigade monsters that are legal to summon, because unfortunately, this is not legal to summon because you summon it with this effect. So the 4th one that is legal to summon is Kit. And then you can take all 4 of these, of course, and summon the Sharug out of your extra deck. Now I'm doing it like that just for case of explaining in point. So you're going to get all 4 of these out of your deck, summon the Sharug, and of course with the Nerval search this, or Kit, dump another card to the graveyard. However, there is one thing that I want to mention before we end this combo. Due to the fact for this combo specifically, if Sharug is going to be sent to the graveyard, you'll not be able to search any Tri-Beast card to your hand, because we don't have anything banished due to the fact that we had to use the Kit. So do keep that in mind when you're playing this combo specifically, is that the Sharug, when it's sent to the graveyard, are not able to search anything because there's not a level 0 in your deck. So, yeah, that's it for that. Still a very, very good combo, 4 interruption combo, and you still have a follow-up, but keep in mind that the Sharug, if it's sent to the graveyard, is not going to send for you anything, or search for you anything. So that does it for combo 1. Now let's move on into combo 2. So, for our second combo, this is a combo that I basically kind of just did also for the lyrilusc variant as well, because it's also a combo that is known there. All you have to do is to open up with Fractal and a Tri-Beast card. It doesn't really matter which one. but it's just any random Tri-Beast card, or you can specifically open up with Karis and either Kit or Nerval. If you open up with this variation, it's basically the same thing. I'm just going to do it with this variation because it's the easiest one to do. So, let's get started. Of course, with the rest of our cards in our hand here, we're going to start things off with the, of course, the discard of Fractal, to then send, of course, the Kit, to send the Nerval, to search to your hand the Karis to your hand, of course. Now we're going to use Karis effect, discarding the Ram in this particular example, and we're going to special summon it out of her hand. Now we're going to use for Karis effect. I don't know why I want to say Fractal, but you're going to activate this effect, banish all 4, to special summon out of your extra deck a copy of Shurug the Ominous Omen. You're going to take both of these two, and we're going to link summon into our copy of Bearbroom in our extra monster zone, and then we're going to use the effect of Shurug to immediately add to our hand the copy of the Cerberol. Now we're going to use the effect of Bearbroom, discard 2 cards with the Cerberol specifically, and then, of course, special summon out of your, banished zone, the Kit. Now we're going to use the effect of Cerberol, special summon itself because it was discarded, and then we're going to use Kit effect to banish our 2 last cards that are Tri-Beast in our graveyard, and then special summon out of our extra deck the copy of Ferajit. Now we're going to use both of these immediately before we lock ourselves into copy of Herald of the Arclight, and then we're going to take these 2 and link summon into Appaloosa, Bow of the Goddess, with 2 interruptions this time. And then, of course, we're going to activate the effect of Bearbroom, search Revolt, put 1 card on the bottom of your deck, set the Revolt, and pass the turn to our opponent. Now, in this particular point, again, it's going to be the same thing. It just, in this particular case, you actually have the potential to maybe search something, because you can just decide which one of these you want to bring back and which not. So, if your Shurug is going to be sent to the graveyard this time, you can just decide, oh hey, I just want to leave only 3 cards here or 2 cards here, and when it's sent to the graveyard, I am able to maybe search a Crow, or a Kit, and a Nerve, or like any of my Tri-Beast cards that I want to, or Tri-Brigade cards that I want to, except from Fractal. It's just really, really good to do that this way. And of course, you know how that goes from the previous combo as well. No need to show you how this particular chain goes. I'm pretty sure most people know as well. Also, because this was properly summoned, you can search your second copy of Revolt if you decide to summon this one specifically. But I don't really recommend it because it doesn't really give you anything. The only thing that you can just summon with your second Revolt is a second copy of Ferajit. And it doesn't really give you that much anyway. But that does it for the second combo, of course. Now we'll move on into our third and final one. Alright, so for our third and final combo, I wanted to end up with the best 1-card combo for the entire deck, just to show you the ceiling that this deck can do with just the 1 copy of Cat. All you need is just the 1 copy of Cat, that's it, and your end board is actually going to be better than your second one, and I would say even better in resources, but we'll get into that when we'll get to that. But to start things off, we're going to normal summon the Cat, and use his effect to send himself to the graveyard. Yes, it's send, not banish, to summon Karis and Kit. Now their effects are going to be negated, but who cares, we're going to immediately link summon these guys into our link summon of Ferajit. It has to be Ferajit specifically, because we do need the additional special summon. Now we're going to use the effect of Kit Engrave to send the copy of Nerval, which then will allow me to add to my hand the copy of Fractal. We're going to use our additional normal summon, and we're going to special summon our Fractal, or should I say our special summon, not additional normal summon. We're going to special summon due to the effect of Ferajit, and then we're going to use Fractal effect, banish all 4 in our graveyard, and essentially go into our copy of Shurug. Now we're going to take these 2 and link summon into our copy of Bearbroom, and now we're going to use Shurug effect to basically add to our hand the copy of the Cerberol. Now we're going to use the effect of Bearbroom, discard 2 cards including the copy of Cerberol, and then special summon out of our banished zone any of our level 2, which can be either Kit or Fractal, if not Fractal, Nerval. Karis can be out of our banished pile. So I'm going to specifically actually go with, I guess I will go with Kit, just because I want to keep enough banished cards out of my spell and trap cards, spell characters. I don't know what's wrong with me, with our banished zone. Anyway, we're going to summon the Kit, and then we're going to use the effect of Cerberus to special summon itself. Of course, keep this zone open, because you do need this for the effect of Kit, to banish our 2 last Tri-Beast card in the graveyard to summon the copy of Double Dragon Lords, and then you can finally synchro with these 2 into your copy of Herald of the Arclight, then go with these 2 into your copy of Appaloosa with 2 interruptions, and of course, add to your hand the Revolt, and then put 1 card on the bottom of our deck. Yes, this particular combo does end up with the Revolt and additional 2 cards in hand, because we didn't have to discard anything for Akaris, and we just use 1 card to beginning anyway. So we don't end up with 1 additional card, we end up with 2, which is pretty good. And of course, Revolt, during the opponent's turn, sorry, you're able to basically summon the, this guy. Which also you have the ability to use one of these 2 link monsters if you want to, specifically for your play. Most of the time I will go with a Ferrigit because, like I said, the second copy of Revolt does come up, but not really come up that much. And one additional thing I would say as well is that due to the effect of Double Dragon Lords, you also have a very easy way to search a DD Crow or any other your Tri-Beast card, depending, of course, on the cards that you kept banished, because of his effect to send something to the graveyard. So you do have the potential to search this, and of course, search this with the, Nerval effect as well. But that does it for the third combo, and does it for the deck profile as a whole. Hope you enjoyed, hope you learned something new, but now let's move on into the next deck choices. So, next deck choices, again, we have the same 3 options, which this time I remember all 3. I'm not that dumb because I did have a little bit of more time to actually see. Cyber Dragon, Dragoonity, and Frogs were the last, or should I say the 3 options from previous video, which I forgot about. But if you also want to keep the Tri-Brigade / Tri-Beast train going, with another archetype, basically, the other option is the Lunalight variant. So if you want me to do the Lunalight variant of this again, let me know in the comments down below. Otherwise, the other 3 options are also relatively optional as well for you to choose. I might go with Frogs next if nobody want to see specifically the Tri-Lunalights. But yeah, that's pretty much does it for that. So again, let me know in the comments down below what you want to see. And of course, if you enjoyed the video, of course, give a subscribe to the channel because it helps a ton. If you thought I earned your subscription, let me know in the comments down below, once again, what do you think and your general thoughts, because there are some particular things that are very interesting about this deck, and give a like. But that's pretty much does it for me, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay safe. Bye-bye.